Welcome back to our Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. This is episode 2.
Slaypisode 2.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Devin.
I'm Anna Maria.
Slay.
Slay.
Shawty call me daddy. I'm sorry, girl, but you can never have it. Pull up in a black truck, it's vamped out. I just walked up in this bitch, they cameras out.
So we left on a big old cliffhanger. And season 1, episode 2 takes us right back to the crypt. Although they're calling it something different in the show. They're calling it a mausoleum. We're in the mausoleum. I didn't even catch that. Yeah, we're in the mausoleum. And Buffy uses her cross necklace to ward off Luke, who was about to nibble her neck. But I was thinking about how in the early episodes, cross paraphernalia, will actually ward off a fully fledged vampire.
Yeah.
And that is simply not the case in the later seasons. So they're really heavily relying on this tool, but that's fine. I mean, it's part of the lore.
Yeah, later on, they need a whole garage covered in crosses and a chip that fires when you do violence on a human.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's true because Buffy is also not as strong now as she is in later seasons. So she's, her character is more able to fight off the bigger villains later on. She doesn't need to depend so much on a cross. Yeah. Maybe
her full potential is being channeled into her weapons, but then when she embodies her power more, her physical form starts to be her greatest tool.
Yeah. And I think her progression is really the best part of the show. It's really cool to see her become super powerful.
Yeah, I agree. And it was kind of surprising to watch when since we left it he was gonna totally attack her and she was done for, to then see okay, this little cross necklace totally protected her, and he was kind of just oh no, I'm running away now. And he went for the neck, saw the cross, and somehow she punched him and he fell out of the tomb and she was able to totally run away. And then she runs out of the mausoleum into the cemetery, where she immediately sees Willow under a vamp getting totally attacked, and punches the vamp off of Willow, runs over, sees Xander getting attacked, and then I think she did this absolutely epic double kick punch move to get 2 vamps off Xander, and it was this very beautiful moment. Now the gang is all together and defending each other.
Yeah, and Willow and Xander really see her in her element.
True.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. After this sequence, do we cut to the theme song, or did the theme song happen at the beginning? Because
it cuts to the theme song, but first they find out that Jesse is gone.
Oh yeah,
Jesse is missing.
Yeah. So it's in my notes. Right after Buffy does her double kick punch combo and the vamps are toast, they realize Jesse's gone, and then we go to the intro.
Okay. Well, what I have to say about the intro is as follows. You're telling me an Anthony stewarded this head?
Nice. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. That's
Thanks.
important.
Thank you.
Anyway, then after the intro, which we love, we go back to Giles in the library. The children truly are surrounding him. After they just survived a vampire attack for the first time, Willow and Xander are kind of just in it now, and are discussing with Giles and Buffy about how vampires are real, and they're just totally being initiated into this understanding of demon world. And they're initially in disbelief, and Willow's I'm gonna pass out. Xander is what? But then they're just kind of go with it because their friend Jesse is captured by the vamps, and they're okay, we have to go rescue him.
And we hear Giles talking about the first vampire.
Yeah, I love
yes,
this.
He explains that vampires are human forms possessed, infected by the demon's soul.
Okay, love that. Yeah, I really liked how they early on explain, okay, the vampire is no longer human. It's a demon, even though it's a human body. The human is dead. It's very tragic.
Which becomes more in question later with other vampires we meet.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true.
I have more to say on that later.
That's a really good point.
Giles also says that for untold eons, demons inhabited the earth, and then they kind of lost out to humans, I guess. And now they want to be dominant again. So that's kind of like the rage behind there.
It's really cool to think of demons as like the original life on Earth, and humans, like, you kind of question, like, okay, well, why do humans like deserve to like kill demons, and like kind of like, why are we the good guys? Because that was kind of making me think, like, okay, what is evil without the presence of good if the humans are good? Like, was there goodness on Earth when it was just demons? Or was that just like a different type of civilization?
Classic good evil dichotomy.
True.
It's plagued us since obviously untold eons ago.
True. It could be interpreted as a people's conversation, maybe.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
we
know.
later meet like kindly demons that
True.
their entire like race is peaceful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And
those
so
must
we
have
are
inhabited it
lumping-
also.
Yeah. And so Giles also describes there was once an original vampire. And so it's these vampires that are the old ones that are kind of descendants from the original vampire who originally bit a human, and then they were each biting each other. And that led me to think that the master is an old one.
Yeah.
Because of how he looks. He looks like an original vampire. So then, like, we pan back to kind of scenes of the master, and Giles is talking about how there's this one vampire who oh wait, this is wrong. This is not happening yet.
Okay. Well,
it goes to the master, and he's talking about his own history.
Yes.
It's not Giles explaining it.
well, it goes down and Jesse's being led through the tunnels to the master's lair, and it was really funny. The master was like, "Is this for me?"
The master has limp wrists. Literally.
And the master said he has waited for 70 years.
That's what I was gonna say. Mhm.
What is score?
Okay, I was hoping that our researcher would have an answer for us. I don't know what score is. I know Abraham Lincoln said it.
Exactly. I was thinking we should know this from Lincoln.
Yeah, is it like a fortnight?
But he says
can't be.
No,
It
not
must
it's
be
not
100.
a fortnight, but it's like
it's 100 because he says four score and
7.
20.
Okay.
Or does he say 7?
he says 7 years ago.
LOL. Okay, I think he says 4 score and 20, which has to mean 100.
You think he
But
says
if it's
4
4
score and 20?
if it's 4 score and 7, then it could be 40 also. So that's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So score is either 10 or 100.
It's either 10 or 100. But he wouldn't have been under the ground for 30 years.
Yeah, that's
So it must be 300 years.
300.
probably
yes.
300. But also, okay, yeah, never mind. There was just like something where they were talking about like 30 years ago or something.
Yeah, the last harvest.
Okay.
When Willow does her research.
Okay, but whatever. A score is beep, fill in the blank.
Okay, I think that I know which moment you're talking about, because this is the master's lore. Kind of jumping ahead, we can come back, that he tried to open up the Hellmouth
Mhm.
and then failed. So maybe he did that 30 years ago.
Hard to say.
Yeah, this could all be solved by Google, but
It could.
we're going off book.
We also hear from Giles that the Slayer has existed for a very long time. He says a chosen girl who hunts vampires. They've existed since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure out where Jesse is being kept.
Yes, they're all in the
and
libraries are trying to figure out where Jesse's being kept.
They theorize that it's underground. And then Xander says there is a chemical tunnel that runs under the whole town, which I'm like, how do you know that, teenage boy? Like,
Maybe he's like going there to smoke pot.
yeah, dangerous. Bless you.
Thank you. It's going to happen again. Actually, no, it's not. I have it under control. Actually.
I liked this moment in when they're talking about what to do, where someone is like, we should go to the police. And then they're just immediately like, Buffy is like, no, we can't go to the police. Like they wouldn't know what to do. They couldn't handle it. They would just bring their guns.
Mhm.
Yeah, she had such an ACAB moment.
Yeah, it's also like immediately like, okay, guns are not going to do any good against demons.
Mhm.
Like
Unless
all they're
there's
going to do is
freaking-
probably harm the humans.
Put your wooden bullets in there, maybe.
Yeah, unless you put your wooden bullets in there. But that's why they have a crossbow.
Say that. Yeah, I was also LOLing at Xander just knowing that there is like a very conveniently located system of tunnels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
That's speaking to his construction worker future.
I know.
True,
he's
it is
ready.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Gab, do you want to talk about what we noticed with the Slayer lore?
Oh, yeah. So the master is talking to Luke, the big, thick, syrupy vamp, about how he got away from a potential slayer. And he's like, it happened once before. He got me while I was sleeping, which confused us.
Check that pronoun.
Yes, because as we know, one chosen girl to fight the vampires.
And in the later show, it's very explicitly said that it's been like a chain of women since the beginning.
Yes.
So we had a little question about that one.
Yeah, so we're thinking like we wonder if they changed this lore like mid-episode or like mid-show, or if there is like some secret history. There once was a boy slayer that we just like never know about.
Yeah, maybe that's an angel. I guess we'll see.
The comics, perhaps.
The comics.
Yeah, real fans are going to be like fucking idiots.
Yeah.
In the comics. Stupid.
And so I think that this is also when Luke is talking to the master, like they're talking about their plan for the harvest, and how the master does not want Buffy to interfere on what's coming, which we learn is the apocalypse. So they plan to use Jesse as bait.
Yes.
So we see that Jesse is underground with the master. And I wrote in my notes, this is a very bisexual moment when Luke, the very thick, he seems like just very queer-coded to me. He's massaging Jesse's neck and being like, yes, like he's loving it. And also like the truth about vampires is that they all are bisexual.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like just as a fact. And
Fact. No cap.
like no, don't even, yeah, that's just a fact. Can't question that. And it's shown time and time again in this show that vampires are bisexual, and I like that, even though they're creepers.
Yeah.
What does that girl say? Facts. No printer.
No printer.
Facts. No printer.
So they're doing some research into the underground tunnels, and we see Willow's first hacking foray, which I loved. She's really slaying in this episode.
Cyber witch.
I love that
Getting into her role.
Yeah, I know. I love that we see them all like growing into their roles. Like Willow has her computers, Xander has his like toxic masculinity, like insecure little boy moment.
He literally at one point says, "Oh, I guess I'm just less of a man," or some shit.
Because Buffy's like,
hate
I'm
you.
literally a superhero. You can't come with me to rescue your friend because you will die. Like these are demons that are like with teeth. That are haunting me. And he's like, okay, I guess I'm just not a man.
He needs to seek treatment.
It's like, actually, because you are a man, that's why you can't come. Because you're a mere mortal.
And we also get a little look into Giles's Luddite tendencies. And he's really like pro book in this episode and thinks technology is like really hard and stupid, which is kind of king.
Yeah, he calls the computer that dreaded machine.
Yeah.
And then he says, that was very British of me, wasn't it? Which it was.
And he says, yeah, I mean, use the web or something.
Yeah,
like
he said, yeah, the net. Let's surf the net or whatever.
Fern said when we were watching it together, Giles is really into leaning over people.
I was just about to say that.
And then
people, like the young girls.
Yeah, well, the important part of Fern's statement is that she did a long pause and went, "Daddy."
Yeah, and I mean, that is not wrong.
But they're really doing some weird framing in this first season.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of Giles, like
kind of from below with like a towering Giles.
where Willow turns to look at him and she has to like lean away to like see him because he is so like enveloping her like with his chest. So
And we
Also,
know later that
bit
Willow
much.
is developing a crush on him in these moments.
Oh my god, true.
Notable.
on Giles?
On Giles. It'll come up.
Okay,
We'll
I
get
forgot
there.
about this. This
Also,
will be new for me.
They just kind of like threw it in there, but there was this very intense talk between Willow and Xander about how difficult it is to keep a secret, have a secret life. I think it's right after they all finish up making their plan and they're like, should we go to class right now? Like literally, what do we do? And they have this moment where it's just the two of them, no Giles, no Buffy. And they're kind of reckoning with the fact that they've just learned that not only are the lives of all of their loved ones in peril, but they are now like in the group that's responsible for fixing it. And that's fucking scary. And they're just like, in the wake of this, do we act normal? Like, do we follow our friend? And they also are just kind of silently processing the disappearance and likely death of their best friend.
Yeah, that's something that I thought a lot about too for this episode was the way that they handle like trauma and grief in this show gets much stronger later on. And in this first episode, like, yeah, Willow and Xander's like best friend is stuck somewhere with demons that they just found out. And I was like, it's kind of surprising that they're not more torn up, in my opinion. I was like, they kind of gloss over it pretty quickly, especially later on as we find out what happens.
Yeah, if one of you got dragged down into a system of caves under a mausoleum by a demon, I would be like, losing my shit.
I'm done. Like,
Thank you.
But also this does you know, mean a lot to Xander. So then when Buffy leaves to go find Jessie, Xander surprises her by following her.
And Buffy does leap over a fence. So hard.
She is like levitating over this fence.
Yeah, it's barely even a leap. It's more of like a deep squat into a hop.
Yeah, after Principal Flutie catches her trying to leave campus, he says, you need to be a young woman with your feet firmly planted on the ground.
Yeah.
And she says, okay, and flies right away.
So when she's walking away from campus after this amazing hop, I noted that I love her look in this episode. She's got the sunglasses, the blowout, the sleek black like button-up shirt and jeans, and she's looking really good, really like mom kind of. And then we have an angel encounter.
An angel encounter.
We do.
We also learn his name.
Yes, finally. Yeah, because we go back to the crypt. Buffy is down there to find Jessie. And she's looking around, and Angel is lurking in the background right behind her, being totally sassy again, until we see like this very dramatic change in his demeanor.
Yes.
After he's like totally negging her again. And then she goes like, she's determined to go in and risk her life to save someone. And then he realizes, oh, she's serious and like this is dangerous. And so he gets very serious about it.
And she asks him, do you know what it's like to have a friend? And he goes dead silent.
And gets really sad.
He gets so sad. I was like, there's the brooding angel. We know he's so lonely.
There's the angel we know, finally.
There's the baby little one we know.
That's a no, is what I wrote.
That is a hard no.
Yeah. And I wrote, that's his soft spot. Nope. He doesn't have any friends.
Okay. Also, I think that I'm inventing this, but I have this really strong memory of learning about like a literary trope of the wise informant or something.
Yeah.
I've done some Googling. Apparently that's not a thing.
Oh.
But in the hero's journey, meeting a mentor is one of the steps right before the hero enters like the spirit world or the unknown space. And so I'm like, maybe Angel is having a little hero's journey moment. And like,
he's the
I don't
informant.
know. Maybe like he's the mentor who shepherds her into sort of like a new phase of her journey that is like otherworldly. I don't know. That's like pretty weak analysis, but
no, I think you're right, because Buffy is also kind of, you know, she's growing in that she's not only fighting vampires, she's also fighting like other types of demons. As
and the
Giles
damn
says.
End of the world.
And the damn end of the world. Like the apocalypse. Like last year she was blowing up vampires in her school gymnasium. She was not stopping the end of the world. Now, like at the very beginning of her meeting new people, being in her new school, she is stopping the apocalypse.
Okay, true.
And it's like Angel is there, and he even tells her, he says the harvest is coming, it's tonight.
Yeah.
So he's the one who lets her know.
And he's trying to stop her from going down into the mausoleum alone, but doesn't stop her when she breaks in. And I wrote, why is he not going down with her?
I know. And she asked him, why aren't you fighting this yourself? And he said, because I'm afraid. And then I was like, is that a joke? Like, I thought he was joking.
I thought he was joking
But then I'm like, he actually is afraid. Like,
yeah.
But that's so surprising because
Angel is stronger than these fools.
He's also like a huge target for them. And I'm also wondering if he's worried about being bad. Like, I wonder if he can't go near the big bads who are about to like eat as much as they want and take control of the world, because maybe he'll be tempted.
And he did say that they know who I am. He said, I can't go down there. They know who I am. And so that's kind of giving more info on the vampires know him. He is like against them, clearly, because he's on Buffy's side and he's a force to be reckoned with. So...
But resisting temptation is like Angel's whole gig. So
it is personal sacrifice, and yeah, you're right.
Yes,
it totally is his thing.
It's very Catholic.
No jizzing,
none. We'll get to that. I'm so excited.
Spoilers.
Spoilers ahead.
So as we said, Xander followed Buffy here.
Yeah, and I was like really taken aback by this, honestly, because at first it's like, oh, he's being so dumb, like he wants to be a hero. But I think the truth is, like, he's being super brave. And he even says this. He's like, Jesse's my buddy, and like I really want to like be there for him. And it's like, yeah, oh my God, your friend is in trouble and you just learned about this whole new world and you're going to go risk your life to save him. Like, that's amazing. And I think for as much as Xander is like this annoying, like, douchebag a lot of the time, he like is so loyal, like throughout the show. Like, he's so loyal and he like really cares and he like will put his life on the line. Like, he will sacrifice himself like for his friends. And
arguably toxic.
And like also he doesn't have any powers. Like, that's what gives him his insecurity. Like, he doesn't have any strengths except he's like a regular human. But his strength is like his loyalty and like his willingness to be there.
You're right.
And so
bravery, grit.
Yeah, like his grit, and he's just always like stands by Buffy and Willow. And yeah, I think that it like rewatching it and having some more sympathy for Xander is feels nice. Maybe I'll change my mind when he says some crazy shit later on.
He's gonna say some crazy shit.
I do have a soft spot for Xander now and then.
Yeah, because I'm like, where is the soft spot coming from? Oh yeah, he's always there.
He is always there.
Yeah. We will give him some grace until he starts saying really misogynist shit all the time.
And then we cut back to Cordelia. And I think this is our first introduction of Harmony.
It is.
Yes. Who becomes important later.
I love Harmony. She's so cute.
She's really iconic.
Yeah, she's perfect.
They're in computer class.
Yeah.
And Cordy is explaining to everyone that Buffy tried to kill her last episode.
Yeah.
And we learn that there's no cover on Fridays at the Bronze.
Love that.
Important.
Okay, so we would be there every Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
No cover at the Bronze.
Yeah, come on.
They have great bands play.
Well, they don't have bands every night.
Yeah,
That's true. They don't have bands every night. They didn't have bands this night.
I didn't write down who it was, but I'm glad to hear that.
But they had someone on stage.
Songs. They had someone on stage. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Uh-oh.
They had someone with a thick, syrupy voice on stage, sounding kind of beautiful.
And then also Willow tricks Cordelia into deleting her entire program, which is so girl boss.
So funny.
I absolutely love that. Okay, also it's showing the loyalty that's already building between Willow and Buffy, because Cordelia and Harmony are totally talking shit about Buffy, and Willow steps in and says like she's not crazy, like stop saying mean things about her, and then tricks Cordelia into deleting her whole computer program. And I was just like really in love with Cordelia's lack of understanding of how to use a keyboard.
Of the delete button.
Button.
And it is confusing.
It's a different time.
It could mean deliver.
Yeah. It's as I'm like typing notes, watching the episode, like not looking at my computer and watching her like be confused by the delete button. It's just like, wow, it's a very different time.
Those
the
computers
90s.
were so slay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Also, like the way that those girls could code in 1990, whatever. And if you sat me down in front of a computer and said, make it do one thing, I would be like, no.
Yeah,
No
their
way.
assignment seemed very hard to me. It was really evoking my R class.
Yeah, which is famously really hard.
But I could find the delete button on my keyboard.
Yeah, and that's really smart of you.
Thank you. Okay, so then we're back to Xander and Buffy in the sewers. We
Scary.
kind of, we also have to go back while Buffy and Xander are down in the sewers. Giles kind of realizes from his books that tonight is the harvest.
Yes, on the night of the crescent moon, first past the solstice.
Say that. So Giles, he's a knowledgeable king and he knows his shit, and he knows that the harvest is happening tonight. Also, we kind of get this vibe that like Buffy knows that going down to get Jesse is going to be a trap. And so then Xander and Buffy find Jesse, and guess what? It is a trap. But Xander says this really cute thing when they see Jesse. He's just like, Jesse man, you okay?
Jesse man.
Yeah, Jesse man. Like,
Jesse man is not okay.
He's not okay.
turns
He's in
out.
chains.
Yeah.
And he's been bit.
He's been bit. Also, I have a sort of question to pose to the group based on something that Jesse says after he's, spoiler alert, revealed that he's a vampire and is actually out to get people, and the whole thing's a trap.
He got the teeth.
Yeah, he's got the teeth. He talks about how like powerful he feels.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he goes, I can hear the worms in the earth.
I wrote that down also.
And so I was like, would you want it? Like, does that sound like a good thing to you? It kind of sounds like a bad thing to me. Yes.
I want to hear the worms in the earth, but I don't want to be like, everything's so loud, you know? I want to hear the worms when I want to. I want to have the ability.
You want to tune into the worms. But like all of them, that would be like horrific.
It would be screaming.
Nearby worms.
You think they'd be screaming?
Yeah, they'd be like, help me.
I was just thinking like mouth sounds, like squelchy little.
I was just thinking like the traveling through the dirt.
Oh, like a kind of slick rubbing through the ground. That's disgusting.
My understanding of slick rubbing. Say that again. My understanding of this is this is something that I love to talk about and have talked to you both about a lot, is this philosophy idea of the transformative choice. And the vampire question is kind of a really good example of a transformative choice. So it's like, you know, you ask yourself, if I was faced with the opportunity to become a vampire, if someone offered that to me, like, would you say yes or no? And like, would you want to hear the worms under the earth? The truth is that like, I would not be able to know at all what my answer is, because you get completely transformed and you have different goals and values on the other side.
Yes.
Because then maybe when I'm a vampire, like right now, I'm like, I don't want to eat people. I don't want to have to drink blood. But then when I'm a vampire, I'm like, give me that blood.
Give me that blood.
So good. And so
yum.
You really have no idea. Like maybe on the other side, I would just be loving and
you'd be loving the worms.
I'd probably put the worms in my bowl of blood, like a nice cereal.
Yeah, like that. And they also say, you know, like having kids is like a transformative choice. So it's like, because you don't know what it's going to be like on the other side until you do it.
Yeah, I believe
so
it.
Something to think about, how like you really can't predict the future, or like what your hopes and desires are going to be in the future. Because maybe one day you'll wake up and you're a vamp and you'll want to just suck some blood.
And listen to some worms.
Personally, that makes me feel insane.
So now that we have had this Jesse vampire reveal, Buffy tosses Jesse out to the other vamps, who are really slowly advancing. It's like, why don't you run?
Yeah, you can run.
So slow. They're not zombies. Also, vampires are like famously fast. And we do see in the future that Angel can kind of get around really fast.
Yeah, he's got little feet.
I just did the spoiler of Angel.
No, barely.
That's a spoiler of Angel? That he can move really fast?
That Angel is a vampire. We don't know that
yet. Well, we've been given spoilers left and right, so.
Well, if you didn't know that, here you are.
Surprise.
And that's what,
So they close the door on these slowly advancing vampires who are like slowly starting to dismantle the door, but Buffy and Xander are able to climb into an air vent, which exists in the sewers.
No fucking sense.
How do you get out of a sewer?
I guess people have to be in the sewers to work on them. So an air vent.
But you get in through eventually they do come out through a manhole, but the idea of having an air vent seems insane.
I was confused by it as well.
But I actually am now that you mention it, like how does air get into the tunnels?
Air vent.
I guess you're right.
Like grates?
The grates. And the manhole
or you'd think like maybe
them.
Enough air would just kind of like go down these huge caverns.
Yeah.
Like caves have air.
People aren't even supposed to be down there. So, like, how much oxygen is really being used up down there anyways?
Do caves have air? Yes or no?
What about the rats? What about the rats?
Yeah, what about the rats?
The rats. Okay. Also,
those little
vampires
guys are
don't breathe.
Yeah. Oh. The vampires aren't using up any air.
Yeah, so not using up any.
I guess they don't care.
So Buffy and Xander escape out the air vent.
Out the air vent through the manhole.
Through the manhole.
The sunlight does save them.
Through that manhole. And they escape into the sunlight so the vamps can't come out because that's the sunlight and they'll get burnt up. Buffy did that whole fucking thing in heels.
Insane.
I did not notice that.
Okay, she was climbing out. You know, I was looking. And
I was looking at her feet.
I was looking at the feet.
Respectfully looking at her choice of footwear.
Yeah.
Full heels.
Like stilettos?
Well, not stilettos. Like a chunky black heel.
Awesome.
It wasn't a wedge. It wasn't even a wedge. It was like probably this big.
Beep.
Yeah.
Actually, cut that out because I didn't make that up. Derivative.
Copyrighted.
Derivative. Yeah. Beep.
So I just thought that was crazy because I couldn't even be able to walk down the street in shoes like that, let alone fight vamps and escape out of a sewer. But we do see often that Buffy will wear like a really cute like silk top and some heels, or like some little kitten heels or something, as she is like running through the sewers from vamps.
She does not give a fuck.
stake him through the heart with your stiletto.
True.
Like
she should just like,
girl
only
boss.
wear
Wooden
wood
stilettos.
shoes.
Yes.
Yeah. Clog. Come on.
Come on, clog.
Come on, Clog.
Just force that whole clog right through the heart.
Might ruin the clogs.
We go back downstairs to get a look at the Master and Luke, who are kind of commiserating. And
Luke at Luke.
I wrote the Master, parentheses, Christine and the Queens, asked for Luke, parentheses, porches. So that is my thesis statement of the episode. That's kind of the most important thing I wrote.
I really love that.
Yeah,
okay, do you have anything more to say about that?
No,
I'm
that's
curious.
all.
Is it just
look it up.
vibes?
Yeah, just vibes.
Look
Look it up.
Yeah.
Just the way they look, mostly.
Yeah, Luke is kissing the Master's hand.
It's big homo. And it's like
such
marriage
big
vows
homo.
core too.
And
They're
he's
like,
drinking
with
his
this, I
blood.
make you my little guy.
Yeah, my vessel.
My blood is your blood. Yeah, so the Master is making Luke his vessel so that Luke can go out and eat a bunch of people, and whoever Luke eats, that feeds the Master, and he gets more souls in his energy body.
So we're learning the mechanics of the harvest.
We're learning the mechanics of the
Yes,
harvest.
so every soul that Luke takes will feed the Master, thus granting him the strength to walk the earth.
to walk the earth, and that means that the Hellmouth will open, right? And then that's the apocalypse.
Unclear. He did say the stars themselves will hide.
Okay, scary.
He had kind
So
of a
scary.
good speech.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I like the Master's monologues.
He is
I'm
a
kind of
great
on his
villain.
side.
Well,
He's
I
a
mean,
great hero of the story.
I mean,
even.
it's going back to original discussion. I mean, whose side are we truly on?
Yeah.
He was
say
here
that.
In
first.
the fight for the Earth.
Mhm.
He was there first. Yeah.
Okay, also here I wrote 60 years ago an old vamp came and named Sunnydale Boca del Inferno. Which
Does our
means
producer have a
Hellmouth.
comment?
Buffy and Xander get back to school. Xander is taking a stand and saying vampires are not good.
Vampires are not good.
King.
A view which seems obvious but becomes complex throughout the series. And
Love
Xander
that.
remains staunchly anti-vampire even when vampire allies begin to prove themselves to them. So
Say that.
I thought this really set the stage for Xander's arc with vampires.
Say that.
God, that is so fucking smart.
That's
and
astute
you're
as
so
fuck.
right. That's so astute.
And I think Jesse, his maybe best friend, becoming a vampire and really changing right in front of him really did that to him.
Yeah, it's a really good origin story for his feelings of that.
Yeah, maybe I understand him a little more now.
Look at us understanding Xander. Hashtag not all men.
Not all Xander.
men.
Not all Xanders.
Oh my God, my dad said that Xander was a clue in the crossword last week because I was talking about Buffy and my dad was like, she was a clue in the crossword, her best friend. I didn't know that name. That's not a name. And I was like, oh, it's Xander.
Oh my God. Look at you knowing too. Okay, so yeah, you're right. So now the team kind of has a hatred of vamps instilled in them because their friend Jesse was killed. And, again, I didn't notice a lot of mourning time. Maybe that's because it is a really hard death to understand.
Because they still are seeing him alive.
They see him alive because he is a demon. He's just different. And, maybe they could change him. That's what I would be thinking if I was them. And it's really hard to just believe all of the lore that this new girl is bringing into your life.
Yeah.
But, from their books and learning from Giles, they now know the ritual that the Master is using, that he's using someone as a vessel to eat people for him. And they now know the symbol that the vessel will be wearing. And we know that Luke has that symbol on his forehead painted in blood.
So Buffy has a target.
So
Buffy has a clear target.
And Xander does some really good sleuthing because they think, okay, so Luke has to go to a place where a lot of people are going to be hanging out. So Xander says, the Bronze, of course. No covers on Friday night.
Yeah, as we know.
Everyone's going.
I'm thinking no covers on Friday nights are because no band plays on Friday nights. But why would that be the case? Because
That doesn't make any sense.
Friday nights are a good night for a band to play.
I know.
But
'Cause
no
they only
band
have a
is playing
Saturday.
this night. So
Yeah.
that's the basis of my theory.
Usually it's no cover on Thursdays.
Wow.
And even then it's
Okay.
for college students.
You know a
Clubbing.
lot about clubs.
Okay. One of us knows about the clubs.
One of us has been to a club.
Yeah, one.
Okay, also, Buffy fully looks her mom in the eyes and is like, I can't do homework tonight. I'm going to a club, which is so iconic.
And then Joyce is like, no, you're not going out.
And Joyce says that in her parenting tapes, it says to like be firm.
Mm-hmm. And she says, "I know if you don't go out, it'll be the end of the world."
Yeah, and it's like true,
and it will.
That.
But honestly, okay, Joyce and Buffy's relationship is like really moving to me because I don't know. I mean, obviously this is an absurd situation, but I just really felt sad and could relate to having those kinds of just stupid fucking conflicts with my mom where like we're both misunderstanding each other and kind of not actually saying how we feel and like I'm lying and I don't know. It's just sad. It's a hard dynamic to watch play out on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that Joyce wants to connect with her daughter so much that she is like engaging with the parenting tapes and saying like, how can I connect with my like teenage daughter? And it's extra hard because as Buffy, like I said in the last episode, as Buffy is like trying to tackle like being a teenage girl, she's also tackling vamps. And so like Joyce doesn't know that much about Buffy's life as a teenage girl, and she doesn't know her whole other life as a Slayer.
Yeah.
So it's like that must be like a huge divide between mom and daughter. And we can kind of see that it looks like it's just the two of them. So like it's just them in the house. It's just their relationship and their family. And that must feel like a lot for Joyce. And to like have her Buffy like going out and running away and getting kicked out of school, like that must be really stressful and like feel lonely.
Totally. Absolutely.
Also, perhaps less importantly, Buffy is putting on a leather jacket in this scene, and the jacket is so good. I want it so bad.
I loved her hair in this too. Was this when she had like a high pony?
That sounds right.
She had some updo that was just so cute. And then later at the Bronze too, when she's like fully fighting, her hair was just looking great.
And we see at the Bronze the shot from the intro where she's wearing like that little white top.
Yeah, we do. We do. Okay, so then we can go on to
Buffy sneaking out the window.
Buffy sneaking out the window. Oh wait, one more thing in Buffy's room I wanted to say was I loved the kind of juxtaposition again of when Buffy is like, oh, okay, mom, like she gets grounded because her mom doesn't want her to go out. And then she goes over to her chest of things and opens it up, and it's like on the top, it's like girly stuff like that a little girl would have in her bedroom. And then she just like lifts that up because it's like a dupe or whatever, like to trick you. And then underneath it's all her weapons and her holy water. And I'm like, and
poignant symbolism.
It's just like, that was so sick. That was such a good shot. And she's just like, all right, gotta go like fight evil.
Buffy's chest is very like
her chest. It's like, oh.
Okay, Buffy's
Let's talk about Buffy's chest.
Buffy's drawer is reminding me of okay, when I went to Berlin, we stayed at this guy named Max's Airbnb, and he Airbnb'd his apartment, but he like fully obviously had nowhere else to go because he kept like coming back and like getting clothes and cigarettes and like chatting with us. And it was really funny. And we were just like in his apartment that he fully lived in all the time. So it wasn't like he put anything away or like tidied or tried to hide like the pictures of him partying. It was just really all out. And in his bathroom, he had this giant metal chest that when you opened it, which we obviously did, sorry, was filled with like empty Whippet containers and like pieces of trash and like
he's like, this is my
makeup and just like loose shit, like
that's
pretty
hilarious.
far up.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's his like club chest.
It was so funny. I was like, most of this is trash, and everything that isn't trash like has no place being in a giant chest under like just
it's
on
sentimental.
The floor.
It's like souvenirs.
It's so funny. I was LOL.
I love that. That's just like this.
It's just like this.
Okay, another thing I want to say from this scene, because there's so much going on with the mother-daughter dynamic. We remember that Buffy was gifted her cross necklace from Angel in the alleyway. So that's like a pretty new piece of jewelry that she has acquired. And when she was talking to Joyce about like, you know, all of her fuck ups and like she's gonna go out and stuff, I'm just like, that cross necklace is so big on her chest. Like it's just this huge like cross. And if I was a mom to Buffy and like saw her with this new cross and she like did not have one before, I would be like, are you religious now? Like, are you Christian or Catholic? Like, what's going on? And then maybe I would be like, I don't know, just in the mindset of Joyce, like a little less skeptical of her now. It's like, oh, are you like going down the path of God?
Christ?
Like, are you
taking Christ as your
disciple
savior?
now? Yeah.
What do those billboards say? Are you preparing to meet God?
Yeah.
Buffy is preparing to meet
Buffy
God.
is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I am really interested in like what Joyce thinks about that giant cross that now Buffy is sporting, when like they have not really talked about being a religious like pair or like a religious family at all. So like that would be a totally new thing to like introduce. So I don't know. I just noticed that. I was like, that thing
Much
is
to
pretty
think
big.
about.
And then we cut to the Bronze. Cordy is here explaining her taste in men, which was hilarious to me. Explaining why senior boys are better. They have cars.
They have cars.
And
they're
Cordelia
mysterious.
compares Jesse to a puppy and says, "You just want to put him down."
That's so you.
It's so you.
You just want to put him down.
Vampire Jesse is watching her.
And we get a Cordelia dance moment.
Yeah,
love
his
that. She's
new
so
horribly aggressive behavior earns him a dance with her. So
That was hard to watch.
hard to watch.
Yeah, because she just got done with saying, you know, senior guys are mysterious and have cars, and now Jesse is kind of being a bad boy and saying like, well, he comes up to her and she's like, ew, I don't want to dance with you, and then he goes like, shut up.
He's like, shut up.
yeah, he goes, shut up, and just grabs her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, one dance. And also like it's interesting, this theme of like violence against women, like in this show and in Angel too, like how that's a theme that they like, that's the evil in these like vampire men, is that they are like violent towards women. And you know, it's feminist Joss again
Feminist
coming
Joss.
out saying, you know, that's
He has to
bad, like
come
this
out.
is what demons do.
Yeah.
So okay,
Okay, Joss.
still hard to watch that happen to Cordy and her go along with it.
Okay,
but-
also another thing about the Bronze, it's fully a bar in this season, and there's like a lot of alcohol coated cups, and it's just like very clearly a club. But I was trying to remember what season. At some point, it totally changes to like cozy cafe, and everyone's
they're
holding
getting
big
coffee,
mugs,
yeah.
and they're getting explicitly getting coffee. So I was kind of like, what?
Maybe a Friday night vibe.
Yeah, Friday Night No Cover. And then later they
And
also...
there's no bouncers at a cafe. Sorry, that's all.
I mean, you're right. And also then later they go through a phase where it all becomes like solo cups. You remember that? Where it's just like red solo cups. And I'm like, you guys.
New props team.
Yeah, new props team. It's like, you think this is what's happening out there in the real world?
At the club.
You guys, at the club, bright red and blue solo cups. But we'll get to that in future episodes.
Yeah. So the vampires, meanwhile, are strutting up to the Bronze in slow motion. Darla.
There is a
leading.
slow motion scene. I loved the song that was playing over this scene, and I forgot to look it up. Yikes.
It was very good. It was impactful. They're strutting up in slow motion and closing the Bronze doors behind them, intimidating the bouncer and bringing him in with them.
It's
The
time
scene
for the
is-
harvest.
The scene is genuinely scary.
so scary.
When Luke is doing his kind of no other sound, no music monologue, I don't know, the feeling of claustrophobia really overcame me. And it unfortunately feels like something that could actually happen. Like, it's a situation that I could imagine myself being in, like being closed into a room with a violent perpetrator
yes,
and fucking freaking out.
Yes, because it happens every day in America. It's like to live life here in this country is to be like, guns are around, shooting could happen at any time.
Yeah, that one just really got
Fucking
me. I was
real.
genuinely afraid.
Yeah, I also felt that too. I was like, oh, this is actually really scary, especially when everyone in the Bronze is just like, this giant vampire Luke gets up on the stage and everyone just immediately is like, oh, that's fucking scary, and like this is a threat, and they're just like all screaming and like we're in trouble.
I am in danger.
And not because I was like, oh, his face looks so not human, because obviously he looks like a vampire, that I would maybe, if I saw him, I would be like, is this a play? Like, is he pulling a prank? Is that makeup?
True.
But everybody immediately sees him as like, oh, that's a monster, that's a threat. And so that is like, okay, this is scary. In my notes I wrote that the bouncer is eaten first.
I wrote that too. He's the first.
So sad. And I wrote gay moment.
Gay moment.
I just feel like that, like to see these two like big, like burly men, and like Luke is being like, hi, and like kissing him on the neck. I was just like, that looks really gay to me. And I wish that it was not in this context of violence.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't death.
And the master is soaking up that energy underground.
Yeah. We see him flexing his hands in that one way that supervillains do when they're gaining power.
Exactly.
And also, Giles is like preparing Xander to meet Vamp Jesse. And is like, when you look at him, you're not looking at your friend. You're looking at, very what we were
I wrote that exact quote down.
Yes, same. Go ahead.
I wrote, it's like when you see him, you're not looking at your friend, you're looking at the thing that killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, that hits. Like, that's so sad. And it's this really important thing to remember, like, throughout the show, that when characters get turned into vamps and like that's your friend and you have to see them become something different, it's just like this horrible thing to go through. It's like this human grief that's so sad.
This lore becomes like not black and white later in the show. I mean, vampires aren't just this demon inhabiting this body, especially with Spike, how he like feels the emotions of his past life and like the humiliations of being rejected, and he's like the poet. I don't know,
but that only happens if Buffy has a crush on you.
That only happens if Buffy has a crush on you. I think
if you
certain
get to be main
vampires
character,
keep some things from their old life. I think with Drusilla as well, you see it. Like she has been scarred by Angel and it remains in her new life. So I think Giles also is this character who sees vampires in a super black and white way because of his Watcher training.
Gab, you're so right again, because it's true. Like in the future, he's kind of like he does the kind of same tactics that Xander does, where he's just like, just kill them all. Like,
no allies.
Yeah, no tolerance. And that's super. Yeah, thank you for reminding us of that, because that's something to pay attention to. I like that.
And Giles does kind of maintain that and is like butts head with Buffy.
Yeah.
There's a few times where Giles is taking kind of a conservative approach and Buffy is like, no, we have to actually rethink this and do something edgy, but that will save the most people or like be the most righteous or something.
Yeah, it does create really good conflict for Buffy, and like understanding that there's multiple ways to approach conflict.
But Giles is absolutely right in this case for Jesse.
Yeah.
In this
to be fair, he is.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, I wrote slices his head off with a cymbal.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember who did that. It must have been Buffy, right?
So Buffy,
the gang storms the Bronze first of all. So they're in and they're like, they just like go full force at this group of vamps and they're just totally like attacking. Buffy takes
like
on Luke.
Flips down onto a pool table.
Yeah.
Stakes another vamp with a pool cue.
So sick.
Cartwheels on stage.
Yes.
And face kicks Luke.
Face kicks him.
But then he knocks the stake out of her hand. So then, meanwhile, the Scoobies are helping people escape. And Xander gets caught by a vamp. But I wrote Buffy frisbees a symbol at the vamp's neck. Incredible. We don't see many beheading.
Clean off. Yeah, yes. Beheading is not her favorite tactic.
So this is like the climax of the episode. This is like really important. And also I want to say, before Buffy and the gang got there, Luke was feeding the master. The master was getting stronger. He was like about to break free. Luke had Cordy in his grasp and was about to bite her. And then Buffy comes in and like saves Cordy. And
not my baby Cordy.
Not my baby Cordy.
Not my baby Cordy.
To live. Okay.
Which is also like their kind of bonding moment. Like Cordelia experiences this underworld and also immediately understands that Buffy is kind of her only hope. So
yeah, it's true. And this is also Cordy's kind of, introduction into the paranormal world, which she will become a part of. So now we're in the fight scenes. Luke and Buffy are fighting, and the gang is getting everyone out of the Bronze. Buffy tosses her symbol. Luke is squeezing the shit out of Buffy. That's his like tactic. So he has her like in a hug and is just like squeezing her. Jesse attacks Cordy, and then Xander attacks Jesse and has a stake held up to Jesse's back and is like so hesitant to do it. Meanwhile, Darla attacks Giles and is going crazy.
The girls are getting pwned.
At this moment, Willow, everyone is kind of captured. But then
Willow holy waters Darla off Giles. I wrote, she doing the best at this.
She's like learning. Protecting her man.
Yeah. She is so smart. And Willow freaking headbutts the...
or Buffy, yes.
Oh yeah, sorry. Buffy. Willow's not there yet. Buffy headbutts Luke.
So good.
So we're winning.
And Xander is at this really insane moment where he has to decide whether he's going to stake the spitting image of his best friend But luckily he doesn't have to make that decision because someone slams into Jesse and runs him into the stake, thus dusting him.
Awful. Must be,
so
very
horrible.
traumatizing for Xander, honestly.
Do you think that's worse or better?
Than doing it yourself?
I would say that's better.
Hard to say. Yeah, without the agency.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Where's the autonomy there?
It's all a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And then after this absolute nightmare, everyone just kind of like goes back to normal. They do address it though. I was thinking they might not address that the whole school just kind of like has collective amnesia that Buffy.
Oh wait, first there's like this climax of the fight.
Oh, true. We have to say how Buffy wins.
Say more.
She says, "There's something you forgot. Sunrise."
Yeah.
And breaks the wall of the bronze. Light is streaming in. Luke is like making pained faces.
Luke is
for
like,
a little too long.
Yeah.
And then we realize it's a street lamp.
No sizzle.
Love that.
All the drama, none of the sizzle.
And he looks like a fool.
He looks like a fool.
Oh,
He
my
looks like
God.
a damn fool. He looks like when Lionel Messi falls down and goes, where?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm making a soccer reference.
Okay.
Get with it.
Yeah, we like sports.
Yeah.
Buffy uses this distraction to stake Luke.
So she just stakes him right there.
And she's like,
he's
you
gone.
idiot, it's a street lamp, dipshit.
Yeah,
And then kills him.
dipshit.
Yeah, she says dipshit on the app. And then he like takes a little while to turn to dust and kind of just falls off the stage of the bronze and then turns to a pile of dust.
Yes,
as
which
they do.
hurts the master.
Hurts
The master goes
He's down
back
boots.
behind his invisible force field. We see him kind of like startle out of his trance, and we see that his barrier is stronger than ever, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's trapped.
And then we see
women are
that
trapped.
Angel is lurking, has been this whole time, and is like being entirely unhelpful.
Just
But he's
watching.
impressed. He said she did it. I'll be damned.
Maybe
He
he's
said, "I'll
like
be damned."
testing
I'll be damned.
her.
He's kind of a little cowboy.
He's a
Yeah.
little cowboy.
He's got a little country in him.
What was the blank in the blank?
Yeah. One tarnation and there's a snake in my boot.
Hot fire and
Yes.
hot
Fire
and
and hell.
flames. Yeah.
Yes.
Great balls of fire.
Great balls of fire. That's what it
Yeah.
was. Angel's
That's
like,
it.
great balls of fire.
She did it. I'll be rootin' tootin' damned.
Yeah, okay. And then we're back to high school.
He will be,
Then
though.
it's like
We're
it
saying.
will be. And then it's a sunny day in Sunnydale. And I fully thought they were just gonna like gloss over the fact that the whole school experienced this terror, and many of them likely saw Buffy
And
doing
people
her killing.
died. Like Luke was on stage sucking the life out of people. Like we saw people
True.
collapse as dead. And I'm
Yeah.
like, those are students. Many
Multiple
students
people.
died.
So we're facing disappearances, huge trauma, like the owners of the bronze, I guess, just like also forgot.
And like school is still in session. Nothing is canceled. There's no announcement over the loudspeaker. And
But they
Cordelia
do-
is like, what happened last night?
Yeah, Cordelia's telling kind of like a different version of the story, I guess. I honestly think that this is kind of like a poignant message about
Totally is.
collective memory and how
Mhm.
there's like a lot of really understandable emotional reasons to kind of like repress and change the story, and also a lot of like social dynamics that mean that people are too afraid to talk about
To
their
be the one to
trauma.
say it. Yeah.
and it just all kind of gets buried deeper and hurts people more.
Yeah, that's like totally a theme too, is people just kind of forget. And Buffy and Giles are always saying, well, you'd be surprised like what people just ignore. And it's true. And, it kind of makes you think like, what do we not notice in our real life? That maybe there are like demons running around here and we just don't notice. Maybe my doppelganger is going to walk in that door right
Oh,
now.
no. Don't even say it.
Not going there.
Nope.
Not going to my worst fear. But at the end, as the gang and Giles are all conversing about what happened and kind of their future together, they do wrap it up a little bit in like their classic jokey kind of way. And they say like the fun is just beginning, and Giles is very serious, and he's kind of like, well, there could be like another opportunity for an apocalypse. We are in the center of a mystical conversion here. And it's just really crazy.
We are in the center of a mystical
see-
conversion here.
Yeah. Like pay attention. It's just kind of crazy to see this like adorable man in glasses, like in the sunshine of this beautiful day being like, the apocalypse is coming, like we must prepare.
I know. I said Giles is really on his Giles shit right now.
He really is.
He was being so Giles.
And they're all like, oh, Giles. And kind
Giles.
of skip away to math class.
yeah, they get back to their teen talk, and then Giles walks away. He's like adjusting his glasses, and he's like, the earth is doomed.
The earth is doomed. Little does he know the earth is going to be saved many times
He's so
Many a time.
snarky.
by these teens.
It is low-key doomed, though.
I mean,
well,
it
we'll
is.
just have to wait and see.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
and that's kind of the end. I feel like we really wrapped up that Luke narrative surprisingly fast.
I'm so
but
glad he's gone, TBH.
We still have the big bad.
Yeah.
The master lives on.
Oh yeah, he's just got to find new, smarter henchmen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's not done, and he's not back to like ground zero, but he is still trapped.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's he gonna do next?
I guess we'll
I'm excited to
see.
I guess we'll see.
What do you guys give this episode out of 5 steaks?
Well, how I feel is like every time after we talk about an episode, I'm so excited about it because we're so smart in how we talk about these. And I'm like, God damn, the show is so beautiful and such a wealth of like art and inspiration. But I have to be grounded and remember it in context with like the first episode and everything. So I would say 3.5.
I'm saying 3 out of 5 steaks for Luke's monologue and the symbol beheading.
Yeah, I was going to
that was
say
pretty
3
good.
as well.
Mhm.
I think just got to put it into context of these are Buffy episode ratings. Like, I love watching Buffy.
Yeah, this is in the context of Buffy.
Yes.
Buffy as like a show, 5 out of 5 steaks all day.
Yeah, but there are much stronger episodes than this.
There are
This was just like a good, solid episode. Continue the plot. Teach us some more about the background.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching it and talking about it.
Surprisingly well paced, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I am tempted to give a 5 out of 5 just for the kill the dog statement.
Yeah, this can be your special 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 killings of the dog from Anna Maria.
Maria loves to kill dogs.
0 out of 5 for the dog.
All right.
Did we end it
Peace.
good
Did
enough?
we end it? What do you think?
Peace and love. Stay tuned for episode 3 where we talk about, you guessed it, episode 3.
You
Oh my god,
guessed it.
that's crazy! You guys guessed that. That was really impressive.
Stay tuned for more of the master and his beautiful long nails.
And his little tricks.
See you next
Thanks
week.
for listening to these 3 slayers. Slay your ears.
Slay your ears. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.